Hello guys, DKoop here with my second sealed draft that I will be recording and providing commentary for, this time live, because I figured out how to do that without having audio lag and things like that. I'm excited to do this. I'm nervous. Last time I sort of wussed out at this point and did not really start recording until after I'd already built my deck, because it is actually quite difficult to provide commentary while you're sifting through what you're seeing, all of these many cards, all of these many options. My strategy for building a sealed deck is typically I look for bombs. I know that there are bombs amidst all of these colors. Although I usually look first in the multicolor area, and here we are seeing definitely some cool stuff in the Abzan colors of white, black, and green. I do really like Ethereal Ambush. Abomination of Gadul and Warflare are good if you decide to go in those colors. The second thing I do, because I'm very much into having good mana, is have a look at the dual colors. If I have no colors to help support... What's going on? What's going on here? If I have no colors to help support the color grouping that I'm looking at building, I will straight up ignore that group. What I am seeing here, however, immediately is support for the Abzan colors. There's 2 Blossoming Sands here, 2 Scoured Barrens. Now, things like the Monastery, things like Thornwood Falls could be good if I'm looking to splash other colors. However, just looking at the multicolor cards and looking at the multicolor lands that I've received, I can already tell that Abzan is a decent spot, a decent color for me to, or decent colors for me to consider. Next, I'm going to sort by rarity. And here we see a great creature in black, the Brutal Horde Chief. His ability is when a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. You can also tap 5 mana in order to choose how your creatures will attack and how your opponent's creatures will block on that turn. So as far as combat goes, this guy will get things going in your favor. I really like Blood-Soaked Champion. I absolutely adore this guy. I pre-ordered 4 when the set was released because I thought that this thing was going to go up in price. That was going to be a big deal. Of course, it did not turn out to be a very big deal. However, I really like that creature, and thus see no problem in playing it. Dragon Scale General is a bomb. At the beginning of your end step, you bolster X, where X is the number of tapped creatures you control. If you're doing things like Outlast, or if you are an aggressive deck, this guy is going to be scary for whoever is you're playing against. And also the Temur War Shaman is great for getting value on your field. He creates another creature with him, so if he manifests the top card of your deck when he comes into play, which means that it's value. If they use a removal spell on him, you still have the manifest as well. He has a second ability where the things that you flow up will be able to fight. Anyways, so I'm going to start moving a bit more quickly here, looking at possibilities for the deck. If I see a bomb card, I put it usually to the side, and then I consider it when I consider splashing things in after the fact. For example, Cloudform is an amazing card, but I don't know how we are going to make blue happen here. Oh, I didn't know that you were terrible. Where's the word? So looking in the uncommons, these are the ones that stood out to me right away. Take Up Arms could work, as could the Mardu Woe Reaper, but I'm not nearly as thrilled to play those as I am with the others I chose there. So now usually what I'll do is I'll sort by color. I don't know how great this process is going to be for you, because you won't be able to see the cards as well as I can. However, I'm looking for cards like Removal and just cards that I know have been really effective in this set, such as the Sandstep Outcast, which is right here. Here, I'm going to switch these to group the creatures and the non-creature spells separately so you can just have an idea of what I'm building here. So right now, just looking for bombs in the colors that I chose based off of the mana and the multicolored creature spells that I liked. I also like Abzan colors. I think it's one of the better color combinations to draft. So that worked out for me as well. Lots of good removal in my pool. And holy Loxodons. So if you can see the deck that I've already built, the cards that I consider to be playable, we haven't even really looked at the lesser cards. And already there's a lot of playable cards. We already seem to almost have a deck, more than a deck's worth. So now I'm going to sort by converted mana cost. I'm actually going to now get this up here. For the sake of the viewer, I feel like it's worth it to make things more visible to you. Here are what I've considered so far to be the best cards. For those of you that are annoyed that I'm not moving all these right to the far left, my apologies. All right, Mardu Wool Reaper is he's decent, but I don't think we're aggressive enough that he's worth playing. He's very good in a warrior deck though. Typhoid Rats though, great one drop, good pick. Bloodsoaked Champion, I discussed my liking of him earlier. He may be too aggressive for what this deck is looking like it's going to become. However, he's in the deck right now, as far as I'm concerned. Lots of removal. I think I may have too much removal, but maybe not. I'm going to get rid of the Take Up Arms because I wasn't blown away by it being in the deck in the first place. The one thing that I'm sure you're noticing right now is that the majority of the deck is white-black, with green being important in the late game, and then there's the Einok Guide, which is a bit awkward. I actually learned this from Marshall on Channel Fireball, that if you're going to have 3 colors, it can sometimes pay off to have a third color more splashing around the end game, mid to end game, and then having early on the 2 primary colors of the deck, which would mean the Einok Guide is kind of not perhaps at its best at this exact point in the curve, so early on. It may be better for me to stick in white and black and then have green available for the later game, which means I can splash it less, and it will then make the deck more reliable. If I was going to do that, I'd have to look for a suitable card to replace the Einok Guide. And you know what? Those exist. Einok Guide is not the world's best card. I honestly am playing him in this deck as just a Grizzly Bear. Grizzly Bear is a 2-mana 2/2. And here we have a 2-mana 2/2. Soul Summons. In fact, it could be better because I may be able to manifest a creature card. Something strong. I could even manifest a morph. Okay. So looking at this deck, up here we have these higher costing creatures. However, many of these are morphs, so they would actually belong in the 3-mana slot. Like I said, usually I pick all the cards that I would consider strong in this format, and then I would go through and pick mediocre ones to sort of fill out the curve or whatever problems I would have. However, in this case, things just sort of built themselves. Once I put all the great cards in here, I already had too many, so it was just a matter of trimming the fat. Here you see how do I win the game. By the looks of it, I have enough creatures earlier on to make things, to clog the board, to at least have something on the board. Then I have lots of removal. Kill spell, kill spell, kill spell, kill spell and a boost spell with Hunt the Weak. Kill shot, kill spell, sandblast, kill spell. A lot of creature disruption. Probably more than I would normally do. I even have Merciless Executioner. And this thing is not the world's greatest card. I'm actually considering getting rid of it right now for perhaps something else. Okay, I may pause the recording here just while I make some finer touches, and then I will come back on and I'll let you know what it is that I've constructed at the end and why. Okay? Okay, guys, so here's the deck that I've constructed. I kept it pretty much the exact same as you saw. I don't think I made any changes. What I did do is add my basic lands. I'm going 17 lands here because even though there are all these giant creatures, the Gurmag Angler has Delve, which means I can remove creatures from my graveyard rather than pay his mana cost. So he actually will almost definitely cost less than 7 mana, especially with all this removal. When I play the removal, the cards go into my graveyard. And cards like Sultai Emissary and Merciless Executioner, all of these things will fill up the graveyard, making him much lower in the curve. The only real big thing in terms of mana is my Temur War Shaman, and since I only have one 6-drop, it doesn't seem worth it to me to actually go 18 lands. The other reason you would have 18 lands is if your mana colors are really bad. So it would be better just to have more consistency, or a better chance to have consistency in your mana, than to have extra cards, extra non-land cards. In this case, these cards are all very playable. And I believe the mana is very consistent. I even had an opportunity to add in 4 forests to get these green cards rolling. Just because I'm confident that I'm going to be drawing the colors relatively consistently. The creature that I am least thrilled about being in the deck is the Blood-Soaked Champion. He's an aggro card. He's very aggressive, and he's great in a low curve, almost lower than this, even lower than this, a low curve deck that's interested in just beating down and dealing damage as much as possible. So, why did I play him? Or why am I choosing to play him? I think that a 2/1 that can consistently attack and not worry about death is a decent card. He helps cards like Bellowing Saddle Brute. When Bellowing Saddle Brute enters the battlefield, if you haven't attacked with a creature that turn, you would lose 4 life. If I attack with Blood-Soaked Champion, I'm then able to play the Saddle Brute. Blood-Soaked Champion is great to sacrifice to my Merciless Executioner. When he comes into play, each player sacrifices a creature. Rather than sacrifice the Merciless Executioner himself, I can sacrifice the Blood-Soaked Champion, and then I can get him back. Thirdly, I have these other creatures, Typhoid Rat, Sultai Emissary. There's a token that can be made from my Sandstep Outcast when it comes into play. All these things have creatures that can attack, and so I can play his Raid ability, this ability here, and I can return him from the graveyard to the battlefield. So there's just a lot of... He's got a lot of synergy with other cards in the deck, despite the fact that he doesn't really fit in wonderfully well with the theme. I think it's smart to play him. We're going to see in the games whether or not I'm correct. If I draw him on turn 11 and I needed a bomb to win the game, yeah, maybe I'm going to feel like a bit of an idiot. But on top of everything else, all else considered, I think he's just really, really cool. I think it's a really cool card, and I want to take advantage of the opportunity to play him. Before we start, I just want to say a couple more things. Well, 2 things. The first is, I know that Sealed is perhaps not the most exciting version of Magic to play it, or to watch for that matter. However, I do know that a lot of people do this format, and some people might struggle with deck building or playing, and this is going to be helpful for you. So I hope that you enjoy watching it. And if I keep doing this, if somehow I develop an audience, if I stop bothering people on Reddit by posting these videos, or whatever means I decide to do so, I may consider other formats that are perhaps more exciting to viewers. If you post suggestions, perhaps I'll even consider it. In fact, you know what, I will. I'll strongly consider it. This other thing is, far less important, I do not have a very good recording mic as things stand, and as a result, the bass in my voice suffers, and I feel as though it is rather girly. And not that I'm gender biased or think that things need to sound manly, or that I need to sound manly in order for something to be quality, or okay, time is winding down. I only have 49 seconds to dig myself out of this hole that I seem to have put myself in. So rather than dig myself out, I'm just going to say sorry that I do not have the full vocal spectrum here, that I do not hit the lower bass tones in your ears. However, hopefully the commentary is still worth listening to. And If you haven't already, stop playing this to move on to the first match. Now would be the time. I'm also realizing now I haven't submitted. I will see you guys in the first match. Wish me luck. Thanks again for sticking around, and let's do this.